Welcome to Melanin Combos, where we hold space for real stories, sacred healing, and deep connection.
One faith, two voices, unpacking healing, culture, and everything in between. Let's talk.
Okay, welcome to Melanie Combos. Today, it's a little bit of a different episode. Nigel is not here, but we're having like a yap session with two of my closest friends, and we're talking about how we've been able to maintain our relationship over the past 5-6 years when we've experienced a lot of like life transitions, moving away from each other. So that's what we're talking about today. And it's just going to be a yap. We're going to talk about all types of random things. So if you're here for that, stick around for this episode. So this is Shanika and Kanisha, and they're going to dive down the rabbit hole with me on female relationships and all the things that we've done, things that grind our gears, all the things. Okay. So before we get into that stuff, let's just do the icebreaker. Tell me one of the most embarrassing things that have ever happened to you.
Okay, I'll go first. So back in high school, I went to a Catholic school, and at our school, and I think a lot of other schools in the region, you had to take a religion class, and in the religion class, you'd have to go on kind of like this field trip that was called a retreat. So once you got to grade 11, the religion class became world religions, and then in grade 12, it was actually philosophy. So for world religions, for the retreat, we went to a mosque, a synagogue, a Hindu temple, and I think that was it. It was just those three. But before we went to the mosque, which was the last stop of the day, we stopped for lunch at the mall, and a classmate of mine went to Bulk Barn and bought like a massive, massive, massive amount of candy. Like she was not intending to share with anybody, but it was way too much candy for her to even eat. So on the way back to the bus, after, we were done at the mosque and learning a little bit more about Islam, I got in my head that I was going to help myself to her candy because she had too much and she wasn't going to eat all of it anyways. But the day before, there was a snowstorm and they had salted the ground, and the type of tile that they had at the entrance of the building was actually like that glossy interlocking, and the salt hadn't melted. So my friends and I were all the way in the back behind the class, and I'm like, oh, I have to run out really quickly to get on the bus and just like, oh, make it look like I'm falling as I'm getting into the bus, grab some of the candy, head to the back of the bus. But the salt hadn't melted and was like pebbles on the ground. And so right when I made it in front of the entire class, I slipped on this patch of unmelted salt, and my entire body just like flew up into the air. Like it felt like a Bugs Bunny Roads Runner kind of like cartoon. And my friends, who I didn't think saw because it was a big class, I mean, they sprinted to the front of the bus to cackle in my face in a way that I have not experienced to this day. And also because the salt wasn't melted, I landed, like I was trying to break my landing, salt cutting up my entire palm, and they're looking at me, they're like, oh, are you okay? And I'm like, no, my back hurts. But they're like, look at your hand. Like, you look like you have the Jesus nail prints. And I was like, you know what? Mind you, they're cackling at the same time that they're talking. My religion teacher's so concerned. She's asked me if I need to go to the hospital. It was a whole mess. And I learned that day, you don't take people's things that don't belong to you because, okay, your consequences may come faster than you want them to. And I never stole or tried to steal ever again.
Life lessons.
Life lessons.
Right?
At the age of 17, life lessons. It's terrible.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
That is
mine
actually
is we had a big work meeting, so our team was doing training, and I worked on a predominantly white team. There's a few black ones. And so I'm standing doing the presentation, and then one of the girls, the black ones, comes and she goes, "Hey girl, flying high." And so I'm just like, yeah, like, we are. And then she walks away and then doubles back and says, "Girl, you gotta fly high." And I'm like, I know. She's like, girl, your zipper is down. Your zipper has been down. I'm talking in front of all the administrators, so like the principals and all the secretaries and some of our superintendents. My flies was down. And I don't know if they saw my panty or not, but it is what it is.
This is why our
Uh,
parents say you have to wear good baggy at all times.
Okay. Private, you
Okay.
get
You have to wear
exposed.
the good bra and the good underwear.
The good
But like
baggy.
my pants were baggy enough, I feel like they like even though it was zipped down, only if I like bent forward, it would kind of like peek open.
Mm,
So yeah, who knows?
it's terrible.
That's
Yeah.
hilarious. Okay, but my embarrassing story is not funny. It's actually
Okay.
Okay, when you lead with that, we have to laugh.
it's actually sad. It's sad. And it's only because Keisha, you started talking about school, and then I remembered. But I think this is probably it is the most embarrassing me so far.
Mm-mm.
So anyways, so in high school, like get into fights over stupid stuff. Like actually
Mhm.
really dumb stuff. I can't even anyways, there was a girl that I was friends with, and funny enough, her name was also Shanika. And we were friends, and I don't know what her problem. Okay, remember when kids would get into fights about girls like having boyfriends and like doing oral
Yeah,
sex? Remember that was
Mm-hmm.
a
yeah,
thing. So,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
so anyways, she I guess I don't know. She started this rumor. I don't know. Whatever. I was dating someone, and this became the topic of conversation. So then we fell out, but then I guess she told one of her friends that like I was saying X, Y, and Z about the girl. So backstory: the girl moved from Nigeria like when we were in grade. I went to elementary school with her when we were in grade 8, and so like we were not kind children. So like we made fun of her, whatever, whatever. Okay, so that's like I learned this after because my parents were standing 10 toes down and were like, no, we're going to the schoolhouse because why is this person fighting my
I
child?
love
So I
that.
learned
I
all
love
these
that.
things after. Okay, so anyways, so I'm walking home from school and then like because the high school I went to, there was two high schools on the same plot of land. So we walked across our field to go to the other school fields to go home. So then someone's running, coming and telling me that this girl's looking for me. She wants to fight me. I'm just like, we're like, what? This makes no sense. So anyways, so also high school, everyone gathers around in the circle,
Mhm.
So anyway, so she like comes and do I know why we're fighting? No,
Mm-hmm.
no clue. I have no clue why we're fighting. All to this day, whatever. So like big brawl, me and her start fighting. Then her cousin, very cheap shots. Like you don't fight someone from behind if they're fighting
Yeah,
someone. You don't
Mm-hmm.
do
yeah.
that, but whatever. So anyways, so my best friend at the time like pulls me out of the circle and we started walking. And then there was a parent at the other school who saw and she drove us home. So anyways, so I get home now, and then my aunt was at my house and she called my mom because like my lip was like swollen. So she called my mom, and my parents were like, "No, like, we're not." And I couldn't explain why I got to fight because I don't know why I got to fight. I don't know. I was just minding my business. So then the next day we go to school. So because my lip was swollen and I had to go to school, I was just like, this is so embarrassing. And then like because teenagers are jerks, they make they made it a point of noticing the fact that I got into a fight with somebody.
Mm.
And we're like, oh, the kid got beat up. I'm like, I didn't get beat up.
For
I
what
didn't
it's
get beat
worth,
up.
this sounds very much like a story that would have happened at your high school.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
much
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
high school story.
It is a very much
Yeah.
of my high school story.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then like my parents came, her parents came, we were sitting in the office talking to our VP. He had a very lovely old man that was our VP. And then so she's telling the story now, but like when she came to Canada, I mean, because we went to elementary school and how like we made fun of her and et cetera, et cetera. And I'm like, oh, this is all news to me. Like I didn't know that you
Yes.
felt this way about like the group of Black kids at our elementary school. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, I understand now why whatever you were told gave you animosity because you already don't like me. So I'm like,
Hmm.
okay.
Mm.
But it was not kind going to school with bus lip and
I
I
can
was like,
imagine.
the girl beat up the kid. I'm just like, okay.
Oh
I'm very sorry.
gosh, not
That's
you
very
got beat
sad.
up.
And my school, if I don't know if you guys have ever been to my high school, when you walk into The front,
Mm-mm.
they called
Mm-mm.
it the Matrix.
I
Mm-hmm.
was staying outside. I wasn't coming inside your high school.
So it's like a long hallway, and there's like benches, and everyone's always posts up on the sides.
Yeah.
So you do your little
Couldn't avoid it.
walk of shame to your
My
class
God.
or to the
Gosh.
cafeteria. Fun times.
That's
Oh
the
my
worst.
gosh.
Times. Yeah. I love that school
It's
though. Not
terrible.
gonna lie. Did love
Ugh,
it.
your school is like, I don't know.
Your school is
It was.
Jumanji, okay? Every day
And I
something new.
really feel like someone needs to hold someone accountable for thinking that it was a good idea for moving those kids in that area of Toronto to Brampton. Like someone needs to be held accountable for
It's
that
an
without
upheaval. It was an
providing the school
upheaval.
with resources.
Because all the
Someone.
kids at your school went to my school first before your school was finished.
I'm so sorry for
And
you guys.
I just get me
Yeah.
out of it. The day your doors opened and they all left,
It
the
was
cheering.
I'm so sorry for you guys.
yeah,
My parents were
ridiculous.
this close to moving to that side of the city, and for years, I thanked my mom. Actually, it was my dad, because my dad put his foot down. He's like, "We just moved here 2 years ago. We don't need to move over there." He saved my life. I don't
Yeah,
know
it
what would
was
have
really
happened
business.
if I had gone to Jumanji Catholic School.
It's like, you remember that scene in Mean Girls?
Yes,
Yes.
every
Every day.
day.
It was
That's
that
what it
every day.
was. Yeah.
Every day. Those
It
and
was,
then it
it was
didn't
wild.
help that our teachers were not old. So they
Yeah.
also had
Oh
their
yeah, they were
own
young
bag of mix up.
kids. They were
They
young
were like
Mm-hmm.
girls, young
our age.
boys.
I think some of the oldest teachers were our age. So like
Mm-hmm.
and
That's nuts.
younger.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So our teachers were like 40 and younger. And they're
Yes.
all
Wow.
going on with their mix up too.
Yes. Oh.
Okay. It was a time. I love that school, man.
Oh, Lord.
Great. Okay, thanks for sharing. So I hope people are acquainted a little
With
bit
our humiliation.
with our humiliation. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna talk about friendship and like female friendship in particular, and like there's a lot of conversation about low maintenance friends and like not needing to put all that energy into a relationship with like other women or even men.
Mhm.
And I mean, I feel like everyone at this point knows my thoughts about that. But I think what is important is noting that we do have like a loneliness epidemic happening right now, and people are reporting that they do feel lonely and aren't really knowing how to connect themselves or I guess have meaningful relationships as adults. So this is an American stat. So it says 1 in 3 US adults, but 1 in 5 globally are reporting higher rates of loneliness. However, not really wanting to, I guess, figure out how to create connectedness with people around them. So we're more lonely, but we also don't have I would say 1/3 spaces, like a true third space, or even maybe the skills to connect with people that are on the outside, whether that's like at our neighbors, school, grocery store. Like we aren't able to find that connectedness, which is scary because obviously, like these can lead to other more serious things. I mean, loneliness is serious, but it is important to acknowledge the fact that we're lonely and we need to
Mhm.
figure out how we can fix that problem. Okay, so first question, how did we meet? It's funny, we had our conversation on Wednesday really helped prime
Yes,
this
it
podcast episode.
did.
Okay, so how did we meet? So I can't answer this question for Shanika because I actually I don't know how I met you. But I will say a defining moment for me and Shanika is when so obviously I had met you already. I know
Mhm.
that, but I don't know. So we were in a group chat previously with other people, but I don't know how I met Shanika. I just know that I was in this group chat with her, and then I think you left the group chat. And
Mhm.
then I think you started coming to Kingsway. Or
Yeah.
maybe you were already there and I started coming. I don't know. Nonetheless, you were friends with Nigel And so we were getting married, and I was handing out my bridal shower invitations, I think.
Hmm.
Was it bridal shower? Anyway, so I
Yeah.
was humming and hawing because I'm like, okay, I don't have a relationship with Shanika, but Nigel knows she. So I'm like, I don't know if I like should invite her. I wasn't sure. But then eventually I was like, okay, I'm going to invite Shanika. And then I told you why I
Hmm.
didn't invite you earlier.
Yeah.
So like that was like I guess, defining moment for me because I remember like having to be transparent
Yeah.
and honest with you, and obviously you could be like, no, I'm not coming, or whatever, but you didn't. You did come and you came to the wedding,
Hmm.
and yeah, that's my first real like interaction with you.
Hmm. I actually think I just remembered our first time meeting.
Okay, tell me, when did we meet? I don't remember.
We went out with the people in the group chat,
Okay,
and I don't remember why we were all downtown. But
okay.
this is when you had the short hair and you were wearing a hat. I do remember that. And we went to, I think it was Jack Astor's
Was it someone's
downtown.
birthday?
I think so.
I think I remember
And
the.
so we were just there. Like we didn't really talk like one to one, but I think that's the first time I ever saw you. And I think we were in the group chat because we both were connected to the same people, but had never met.
Okay,
And we went to that dinner. That's the first time.
I remember that.
And
I
yes, I
remember
did
that.
leave the group chat. So I was
Yeah,
just like, I don't rock with everybody in here like that. So
I do
yeah,
remember. Okay.
yeah.
Okay. That gives context. And then Kenisha, actually, I don't, you were, because we went to the same church, you were just there.
Yeah, we were just always around.
But I would say like a defining moment. Was this after or before my wedding? When we went to was it called Sorrel?
Sorrel.
And
It was,
was it after or before?
yeah, it was after your wedding. It was like a month or 2 months before the pandemic. So this would have been 2020.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
I remember the last time we went to Sorrel, if let's say Dougie
Mm-hmm.
shut down the province in the middle of March, we went to Sorrel the week before. Yeah.
Oh wow. Why did I think that was like years before? So that's
No,
not my
no,
first time.
no,
Then I don't
no.
remember. See, I don't know.
I do remember, I don't know if I should tell the story, but I do
Hmm.
remember the first night I saw you and maybe like interacted with you. Um,
Oh,
you had,
that was our first time. That
yes,
was our first time meeting.
right.
It
So I
was.
won't tell all the details because it's a
Yeah,
little
no, we don't
messy.
need to tell that
Shanika,
story.
I'll tell you offline. I'll tell
You
you
Oh,
know the
offline.
perfect.
story.
You
You
know the
know
Okay.
the
story though.
story.
You know the story though. But you were looking for a space, I think, to host an event.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you were coming to Kingsway on a regular basis at that
Mm-mm.
time.
I wasn't.
But you were looking to host an event at our church, and I was there that night because it was a Friday, so we had youth that night.
Yeah.
And so I was the one who came out to talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I had heard of you. Timeline wise, I'm trying to think if you and Nigel might have been talking at the time. I either had heard of you through either Nigel or through another one of our friends who is also a youth leader. So I didn't know you, but she came out afterwards and she was like, "Oh, that's my girl. I know her because you guys went to school together."
Mm-hmm.
So then after that, not long after that, I think you started coming to Kingsway on a regular basis. And again, because we were all like in the same, it was very much a melting pot group of friends that
Right.
we just
Yeah.
like, if one person knew another and another person knew that person, like if there were mutuals, we would just all melt into the same pot. And I think that's also how I met Shanika because I don't think I met you before you started coming to Kingsway.
Yep.
But what I found interesting about meeting Shanika is that we very much would be on like very random things intuitively on the same page.
Yeah.
So like, let's say there's the group, and let's say somebody new comes, and that new person that's coming around is not nice. You know, they are causing a disruption, me and Shanika immediately, like magnets, would be like, they gotta go. They gotta go. I remember also, I don't know if I should say this also because it's mixy. And I think this is when I realized that, yeah, me and Shanika are gonna be good friends. We were actually at your shower, Nikita.
Okay.
And this was during the panel conversation. This is during the panel conversation. And one of the panelists had mentioned something that her husband wanted her to do that she wasn't comfortable with. And she described how he was kind of like, she felt like guilting her, and that was something that they had to work on in their relationship. And I remember when she said that, I was like, I didn't want to react and like have my face screwed because it wasn't a good thing I felt. And as I thought my thought, where I was like, I don't know about that, Shanika said it out loud. Shanika said it out loud, and I was like, right? Because that's a little. And I was like, you know what? We're all gonna be great friends. We're all gonna be great friends.
That's funny.
Shanika, I don't even know if you remember specifically what it is.
You gotta remind me.
I'm gonna remind you afterwards.
That's funny.
But it's very funny.
Yeah,
so yeah.
You have to remind me too because I don't know.
I will remind you because it was probably one of the things that jumped out at me the most during the panel, and I was like, that's kind of okay.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So that's how we all met. And I think throughout let's call it 7, 8 years, like the relationship has looked differently as like we've evolved through, again, that like we have like a group of connected people. And as like we've moved through that group, the relationships have looked differently over those. Some people like we still talk to, but not like we're not as close, and like relationships shifted and just like expectations and what have you. So one of the big things that could have, I guess, depleted or like really shifted the relationship that we're not close is that in 2021, or I guess 2020, in conjunction with COVID, we all had like some real big life transitions. So I moved, I had a son, Shinka moved, Kanisha moved, or became a homeowner. I mean, there was a lot happening in your life, Shinka. There was a lot happening. Those two years, yeah, we call it 2 years. So which would have caused, like just, I think like I don't know if it's naturally, but it would have caused like us to no longer be as close or just like be passing by. I guess that's the better word. But what are some of the moments within the relationship that you knew that you were like seen and like safe? And we'll get back to the transitions after.
Again, I don't know if you guys are even going to remember this, but 2018 and 2019 were particularly difficult years for me. And I remember by the time I got to, well, I would actually say 2016 to 2019, but by the time I got to like middle of 2019, I was just like on the verge, just not in a good place. And I remember what was particularly hard for me at the time was I felt like I was having a really difficult time at work, and I was internalizing a lot of how I was being treated, even though a lot of how I was being treated was racism. And I remember one day I went to church. I wasn't ministering that day. It wasn't a youth Sunday, so I was just at church to be at church. And I went to the altar and I was praying, and I was very much like, God, like everything that's going on in my head is just, I feel like my base level every single day is just complete discombobulation. And I'm mentally struggling, I'm depressed. And I went to the altar to pray, and I was having a good old weeping time. And all out of nowhere, like you two and another one of our friends came and like enveloped me Yes.
I
And
remember.
I do. And Nikita put down some church mother prayers and like hugged
Ah.
me. Yes. It was at the side of the church heading towards like the back door. And yes, and like hugged me, and like I was weeping and bawling. And it was the first time in a really long time, and probably like maybe even the first time, yeah, I would say the first time in a really long time in a church setting that not only did I feel seen, but I felt seen in the midst of my struggle and cared for. Like very not like,
Mm.
oh, Kenisha's got it. Like
Mhm.
let her tarry at the altar and pray through and she'll be fine. Very much like you saw that I was not okay without me even saying it, and was like, yeah, you're not gonna go through this moment, let alone season, by
Mhm.
yourself. So it carried me.
I don't.
I
I'm,
don't
I'm really.
remember.
I don't remember that. Oh, well,
Yeah.
I'm glad you remember so you can remind us.
Yeah,
Because
right.
I'm like, oh, I'm here listening to the story like first time.
Where's this going?
I feel like my brain is like the scribe of our friendship.
Because I'm
I
like,
just
oh, tell me more.
store all the memories. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Aw, that was beautiful.
That was beautiful.
It
Huh.
was.
I needed
Um,
it.
for me, man, okay, I'm gonna break a rule and give like a tidbit of a few. So
Okay,
after
okay.
an experience of leaving my last church and where my friendships went after leaving, when I decided to leave the church that we all went to together, that like it was a very big fear of mine of like I leave the church, I leave my community. And uh, after leaving, just like I feel like we got even closer, and I feel like that made me feel like seen, and you guys didn't, it wasn't out of sight, out of mind. Um, and then that year when my mom was sick from top to bottom of the year, um, just how like you guys would intention like even just because and this was that 2021, right? When I moved to a new region, we all moved from like being close and always being together to like you're over there, you're over there. We're not like a stone's throw away anymore. But just the intentionality of like hopping on calls, like you guys would let me like weep and just lose it, be unhinged, and just really supportive. The care packages that showed up at the door. And then at that time when my faith got shaky, um, you guys didn't make me feel judged or crazy. It's funny enough, my brother said like he remembers something that I had said to him, and I think uh the only reason I could say that was my experience with you, where I think he said it was like along the lines of they're letting you be who you are, so you need to let them be who they are. And this is not to air out his business, but also when his faith was kind of being, challenged. And even though, even though I would say things that were not in a line with how you're living and like our faith, you never made me feel like it was not a safe space to ask those questions, be unhinged, get a little wild. Um, and there was just no judgment. It was always all love, all like, yeah, kindness. Because you could have been the kid, it could have been like, you're not allowed near my son with that foolishness. But you guys didn't do that. And so I think yeah. That's when I'm like, these are my people.
But I also think like it's healthy to like deconstruct your faith and like wrestle a
Yeah.
little bit.
Hmm.
Um, and I think because I've had like other friends who have like deconstructed or like no, they weren't deconstructing. They were just doing wild things. And they
Right.
knew that what they were
They were
doing was
rebelling.
wrong.
Yeah.
That's the word. They were
Yeah.
being rebellious. And I'm just like, I know that you know.
Hmm.
You've been in church long enough. You
Hmm.
know. And so I'll just let you have space to figure it out. Like, I really do believe that the Holy Spirit does work
Yeah.
and there's room for you to figure it out and the Holy Spirit to lead
Hmm.
and guide you. Also, if you're being intentional about wanting to figure it out. Like if you're just
Yeah.
being rebellious, I'm just like, okay, whatever. Like we're not having this conversation because you've chosen to do
Yeah.
something. And
Right.
doesn't matter what I say to you, you've already made up your mind. But if you like you're consciously deconstructing or just like wrestling with your faith, the Lord will speak to you and you'll come to a conclusion and
Mm-hmm.
it'll be fine. Like
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah, I
it's
think
not a
there's a
thing.
difference between I don't want to do this anymore and I don't know if I believe this anymore. So what is the truth?
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
I think at that time, Shanika, your question was, what is truth? Like you were
Mhm.
I'm just seeking for truth and for knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I think that for what it's worth, especially given the type of church environments that we come from, first of all, to even say that I don't think I have the truth, like, especially for me, the church environment I came from, that will get you stoned. You will be crucified
Yeah.
yourself. Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But it requires a lot of like vulnerability to even be able to say after being in church for like your entire life
Mm-hmm.
to imply I'm putting aside like my ego and like the church performance of like I've been in this, I know this, to say like
Mm-hmm.
I
Right.
don't think I know where I am and I want to find and be tethered. So
Mhm.
like there was no room for judgment or criticism.
Yeah. And
Aw.
we had this conversation, Kanisha, about like me not. I said like I don't think I know for myself some things about pertaining to like biblical sexual ethic.
Mm,
It's like I don't think
Mm-hmm.
I know like that I know like that I can actually say like this is the reason why and this is why I believe
Right.
whatever.
right.
And I think like that is a lot of Christians. If
Yeah.
you ask them why they
Yeah.
believe what they believe, they
Pastor said.
pastor said, "Oh,
Pastor
because
said.
you cannot dissect your
Yeah.
belief to anything outside of messaging that you've been told or like Christianese."
Right.
And I think that's problematic,
Yeah.
but also
Mm-hmm.
particularly because like I have a kid
Mm-hmm.
and it's like incredibly important for me to be able to tell him what it is we believe in a way that is not just like cultural. Like being able
Yeah.
to break
Mm-hmm.
something down into its bare bones and like, okay, these are the facts. This is why we believe,
Mm-hmm.
and like this is where you can go and find the information to support why we believe what we believe. So,
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. So I'm happy you felt safe enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I have two. Oh wait, you said you had more than one. So what was the other one? Or are you
No, they
good?
all they all intertwine together.
Oh, okay,
Mm.
perfect. Okay, so mine would be um I have two. So there was one, I was pregnant, so this is 2020, and we had just so we were planned to meet up and we had a picnic. And so we were like close, but we weren't I don't think we were like tethered to each other
Mm.
Yeah.
at this point. And so yeah, so we just had our meeting. Nigel and I had just had our meeting about leaving the church that we were all at. And so then Nigel dropped me to the park and we were like having a picnic, whatever. And like we were having a conversation, very normal conversation. But after the picnic, we were in the car, we were in Chico's car, and we were just talking and we were being very honest about like how we felt about being in a friend group and just our
Mm-hmm.
experiences previously about being in a friend group. And I felt like in a very unintentional way, we told each other what our expectations were and like where we felt insecure about like being in like close proximity with each other and where the relationship was going. And I feel like that was like me feeling seen in her because I was able to express like how I was feeling and what was going on. Because I think previous to that, the friend group that Shanika or the group chat that Shanika and I were in previously, I felt
Mm-hmm.
like I was at, like the people were best friends with each other, and so when that friend group mash up, I was just like, oh, okay, like
Yeah.
Mm.
here I am, just
Yeah.
a riffraff. So I felt like that was a moment, and then also, I guess more recently in 2023. Yeah, it was 2023. So anyways, that year, and I've spoken about this on this podcast before, when we moved and just like the hardship that we were experiencing, there was like a period of time where our son was like in and out of the hospital. It was just really ghetto. And I went back to work. I was feeling depressed. And so there was 2023, the February, you guys and Nigel decided to fly to Toronto to see this Alvin Ailey show. And it was a surprise to me. Like, I think like the week of, Nigel told me like, you're going to Toronto. And I was like, what? What do you mean? Like, I just like lit up inside. I was like a kid in a candy store. And so, and also I was able to go, and even though like we didn't spend the whole weekend together, I was with myself a lot of the time, which was great because I wasn't able to hear my own thoughts
Mm-hmm.
at home because like our kid was 2, I think, at the time. So it was great to being able to just be by myself, but I felt very seen in the sense that like I was going through hell. And whether or not Nigel had disclosed all the like those details to you guys to the extent of like what I was experiencing, the fact that you guys thought enough like, oh, this show is coming, Nikita's birthday is coming, maybe we should get her to come see the show, made me feel like, oh, like these are people who see me and I feel like I'm safe here, and they're concerned with just like making me have like happy moments, and when I'm low, like trying to bring some form of normal
Mm-hmm.
ish. And I think after when I came back, like that actually like kind of broke up, I guess, the seasonal depression that I was experiencing, because prior to that, literally I was coming home, picking up the child. I said, okay, Nigel, and I was going to the bed. Like I didn't want to talk to
Yeah.
nobody, and then I would get up to eat and put the child to bed. Like there was no playing. I was just like,
Mm-hmm.
this is not it for Nikita. So that trip broke up some of like the seasonal depression and just allowed me to like breathe a little bit. So yeah, I brag about that all the time. I tell people my friends are better than yours.
Friends fly you out.
My friends flew me out. What do your friends do?
Oh.
Yeah, so yeah, that was my moment. Those are my 2 moments. And I think particularly that like picnic really like, I feel like anyways, really set the pace and like
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
how the relationship would go forward. I don't
Yeah.
know, what are your guys' thoughts?
Yeah, I actually remember being kind of like surprised at the fact that it seemed like we were all coming to the friend group with a similar story,
Mm-hmm.
and we all had similar experiences, and over the years we've talked about them more. Like one time, one thing that Shanika and I started doing is, because we're the only ones living in the same province, but like 2 hours apart,
Yeah.
for a while we weren't seeing each other at all. So we started saying, okay, even if it's just once a month, we'll meet at a middle ground. And so we went to lunch one day in Burlington, and she was telling me some more of the background context, and I'm sitting there in the restaurant trying not to cry, because one, I'm like, I wish I was your friend back then, for reasons that I won't say publicly, but I wish I was your friend back then. But also too, like, it was just so amazing to me that the 3 of us were coming together with these shared experiences. But also, one thing that I've noticed is how individually and separately we've done a lot of like self work. And so what we were also bringing was emotional intelligence to know, like, I know your story and I know what that feels like. So I have to be cognizant of how I am to you as a friend, because I don't ever want to make you feel the way that you felt in the past. Like, it's not going to be whatever our stories were for each other in the past. It's not going to be that here.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciated that, because that in and of itself let me feel safe to know that, okay, these are people who can relate to what I've experienced, and the loneliness and the grief that comes with it, and how much you don't want to experience that again.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I remember that picnic. First of all, the fox.
Oh
I
yeah,
forgot about the fox.
the
That's how we
fog.
ended up in the car.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
We thought we were good at
But I like,
that.
I remember that being like a really defining moment for me. And like, as you said, Keita, like it was a space where I was like, okay, like they understand, and it was very like vulnerable, especially because I don't think we had ever experienced that vulnerability as much as we all hung out.
Mm-mm.
like
Mm-hmm.
to that depth. And like I think that's where the tethering be started in
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
our friendship for me. So yeah, good times.
It was a time. It
All
was
the
a
time.
time.
Okay, so I know, like, I mean, well, I mean, maybe I've just seen these conversations because I see like moms like griping about when they become a mother,
Hmm.
their childless friends like don't understand, or like they don't come around, or it's on the flip side where their childish friends are expecting too much from them in terms of like
Mm.
communication and like showing up and etc. And how, I don't know, a lot of people talk about like, oh, they don't get it and they aren't trying to get in. They were like, I have so much going on, or the buzzword, or where I'm so busy. Like single single people who don't have kids aren't as busy as moms who are
Mm.
married, or just moms in general. And the internet goes crazy about this conversation.
Topics.
And I also find it very interesting. It's just like, okay, well, single people can be busy too. They can be just as busy as people who
Very.
are parents, and have like a lot on their plate. Like there's single people who are caring for their parents, who are
Hmm.
caring for like other people, or they just have really busy jobs. Like it doesn't mean that
Yeah.
they're not any less busy because they don't have a
Right.
child and a husband that they are in relationship with. So as I became a mother in 2020, yeah, what was that experience like? My brain, I'm trying to forget so much. What was that experience like for you guys? Just like experiencing
Hmm.
me, like we were in relationship when I got married, but I mean, you can speak to it, but I don't know if there was much of a transition that you experienced when Nigel and I got married. You can speak to both.
Um, so when you and Nigel got married, I don't think that there was much of a a difference. Okay. In general, how the dynamic was as a friend group, I don't think it changed much.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Because we were all a part of the same friend group. So
Yeah.
when we're all hanging out,
Right.
like we're all hanging out.
Right.
But I do remember saying that now, because I had met Nigel first and I had met Nigel years prior. I had said that my rule, my personal rule is if a guy friend of mine gets married, I'm going to develop
Mm-hmm.
a relationship and a friendship with
Yeah.
the wife. And I was very fortunate in the sense that me and Nikita are very similar. Okay, very high chest. We like the finer things in life. We like to live nice and large and in charge, right? But that was maybe one of the transitional aspects when you got married. By the time you became a mother, because you became a mother during the pandemic, and by
Hmm.
that point, we had spent 11 months as a friend group making sure that we weren't disconnecting. And I also do think that we started building that aspect of not being disconnected before the pandemic, because I remember a lot of us were really going through, let's say, the 6 months before the pandemic. We weren't coming to church as
Yeah.
often, weren't seeing
Yeah.
each other. Some of us were trying to go ghost, and everybody else in the friend group would be like, get back here. Where are you? How are
Yeah.
you doing? Whatever. Right. So I think by the time you had the baby, we had maybe had like a year of making sure that even if we're not in proximity, I still know
Mm-hmm.
what's going on with you. I'm still talking to you on
Hmm.
a regular basis. We're still connecting. Um, I remember at the time being very, and I don't know if I articulated this, but like very concerned about what your postpartum journey was going to be like. Um, and how you were going to navigate. So, like, a lot of my questions at the time were like, how are you feeling? How are you
Mm-hmm.
doing? Because I've seen a lot where, like, there's fanfare over the baby's here, and we love Nolan, right? Like, Nolan had a nickname before you even conceived, to be honest. We were trying to tell you what to name Nolan. But,
What was
but
the name
like,
again?
well, I had suggested we
She
name him
had a name.
Malcolm.
Malcolm. Yes. Yes.
I had suggested we name him Malcolm, and you and Nigel like actually we've already decided is going to be Nolan. And I said, what about Malcolm Nolan? What about Manoli? And that's when we started calling him Manoli in the group chat.
Yeah.
But but yeah, I've seen a lot where it's like a lot of fanfare over the baby and not like attention, even if it's not
Mm-hmm.
concern, but just like attention to the mother. So maybe the transition for me was like our dynamic kind of stayed the same and it just kind of like grew deeper. But
Mm-hmm.
mentally for me, it was like, make sure you're checking in on Nikita. Make sure
Mm-hmm.
you know how she's doing. Make sure you're making space for her to also tell the truth about motherhood. Like, for what it's worth, I don't want you to only tell me about the, you know, the days where it's full of sunshine and like sending the cute pictures. Like, if it's I did not want to get out of bed today and I had to take the baby to the daycare and I hate that I had to take the baby to the daycare. I just want to go to Starbucks. Then,
Yeah.
which for what it's worth, audience, Nikita never said. But if you did say that, you know, like this is a safe space for you to be a human being, because like you don't become this like ethereal alien just because you're a mother. You're still Nikita.
Yeah.
So it's very important for me to keep that front of mind for you and Nigel, but like as you and I were building our friendship, like make sure I was doing that for you.
Yeah. Yeah, same. Like I feel like because of when you had him, we were in lockdown, so it was already like
Right.
as you said, like we were prepped to communicate outside of seeing each other. Um, I think that's kind of what sucked a little is because of the type of community
Yeah.
we weren't able to show up because
Right.
of the government, in a way that I felt like we would have if we weren't, locked in our homes. But
Right.
I feel like, yeah, like it didn't feel like a weird transition because, like, again, I think like, yeah, we were prepared for that. And even like with postpartum, I think even just with being friends with Nigel in the friend group and being aware of because I had a cousin who had very bad postpartum. I mean, there was one day it was me and her brand new twins, okay, in a parking lot at Wendy's. And that girl hopped out of the car and said, "Okay, I'll see you later."
Oh no. What do you mean, see you later?
Yeah, and like when she was really going through it, so I had
Right.
experienced and understood what it can look like and what it can show up as. So even after you had him, like for me, it was like, I know what that looks like. Your body is physically, you gave birth to a human being. Your
Yeah.
body is changing. So what is realistic to expect in friendship with my friend who just gave birth? We are all going through it because we're trapped in our home. So like what was fair and realistic, but like I don't think it was like a big transition because we did. It was the Spirit of God who prepared us before the
Okay.
event happened, okay?
Letting us know ahead of time, prepare,
Exactly.
because perilous times are coming.
They were coming.
They were perilous times.
I do think also what helped is that I want to say what I've noticed about our friend group is that we all have a voracious appetite for learning and educating
Yes.
ourselves, right?
Yeah.
And so with the education background and even just the things that we're all interested in being more versed on, us having an understanding of what happens to the human body and the human brain when you're not getting enough sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And Shanika and I both having interactions with children in their infancy as like newborns, as babies, and knowing that the concept of sleep for new parents, not existent. So if I know you're not getting sleep as a human being, I can very much put two and two together to guess how that could potentially impact your body. And then from there, showing, I don't know, I personally feel like you're being a jerk. If you have knowledge, that should lead you into empathy and you choose not to do that. Right? Like if I know sleep deprivation is going to cause you to maybe forget to call me, or maybe you're supposed to send me something, you didn't send it, or you know what I mean? Why am I going to be a jerk about it and get mad about how your body is reacting to a very real thing that is happening to you? So I was like, that I wouldn't even make that. I don't know. I just feel like once you know better, you have a responsibility to do better.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah.
Okay. I think for myself, that transition. Like it didn't feel particularly moving, not so much when we were living in
Mm-hmm.
Toronto still, but more
Mm-hmm.
particularly when we moved, I had felt obviously lonely because it's just me and this
Mm-hmm.
child, and I was at work. But I knew like I could always talk to you guys. But I
Mm-hmm.
think what was difficult, and like, I've read a lot about like just how important proximity is in building relationship with people. So I feel like
Right.
that was
Mm-hmm.
one of the hardest things, like not being in proximity with you guys, and knowing that, or just like my community in general, because I even grew up about it till this day. Like I know that I have like people who, if I need someone to watch Nolan, if I just want someone to like sit with me, I
Mm-hmm.
have a list of people that I could call who would be available, or who have tethered their lives so much to like my own that they'll be willing to make that sacrifice for me, and for our family, so it doesn't
Yeah.
feel like I'm asking someone to go out of their way. So like that has just been my like my biggest thing. But I feel like today, I'll say today, like more presently, I'm just like I'm going to just bank on, or not bank on, but like just be more affirmed in the fact that like I have these relationships, and even though we're not in proximity, these are
Mm-hmm.
like my solid
Mm-hmm.
relationships, regardless of whatever loneliness or like confusion. You know, like when you don't know where you stand with people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
regardless of like I hate that. Like it's so annoying.
Yeah.
So regardless of whatever proximity relationships I have here, the ones that I don't know where I stand with people, I know that I have relationships that are solid. So I'm not
Yeah.
even fretting, or
Yeah.
try not to fret
Right.
about the ones that are like, I don't know where I stand, you seem flaky, you don't get it, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And just like being really like, okay, these are solid, firm. I feel seen here. Like we've already done the work, so I'm not gonna like gripe about other things. But I do feel
Mm-hmm.
like the transition for me, I don't know, like I just I don't know what it is, but I don't feel like there was ever a need for me not to be in relationship with like you guys. Or like I just
Mm-hmm.
needed to tether myself more to moms than
Mm-hmm.
my single. Like
Yeah.
I don't know, like right now, and I think, well, yeah, we made it a rule now. Like this is what we do. Like we meet every Wednesday, and like we
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
have conversation before we're sending voice. So like I just don't, in my mind, I just can't conceptualize why I would be, or
That's a good point.
how I could be so busy that I
Mm-hmm.
don't talk to my. Actually, I'm lying. I do. I think I have a theory. I think like I've I've been thinking about this, and I think like the supports that you have, external supports, whether that's like your husband, whether you pay for resources, whatever, really help cement whether a mom is able, how a mom is able to move throughout her
Mm-hmm.
world.
Mm-hmm.
So like if she is so bogged down with like domestic work, and like having to tell her husband what to do, how to do it, having to check, or like
Right.
just all that mental load, perhaps maybe that is a reason why she doesn't feel like she has the capacity to even think about other things outside of the daily checklist. I
Right.
don't
Mm-hmm.
know. I'm I'm assuming. Like I'm assuming that the lack of resources makes someone unable to like be a good planner, like outside
Yeah.
of
Mm-hmm.
like tomorrow,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So I think maybe that has a like a part to play. But I just don't feel like there's, what am I doing that makes me so busy that I cannot talk to people?
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like I'm that busy. And I'm quite busy. I'm quite a busy person.
Yeah.
So I'm just like,
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing. So like I can't
I
relate. I just don't relate.
I think I noticed also something that, although unintentional but consistent, that we've done in our friendship, is that we will connect with each other while we're doing life,
Yeah.
like while we're doing what we need to do. So several times I'm talking to Shanika as she's heading to the other side of the province on a call, Or I'm talking to you, Nikita, when you are going to pick up Nolan from the daycare, or
Mm-hmm.
you've just brought him home and you're making him dinner. I'm talking to you while you're preparing for Buckner Academy. Just on
Mm-hmm.
Wednesday, when we joined for our call, I'm working. Now, mind you, 6:30, so I shouldn't have been working. But I'm working, and then I'm like, I just stopped working. But the fact of the matter is, you know what I mean? Like, I'm talking to you while I'm working, or I'm sending you a pod. I didn't mean to say podcast. I meant to say a voice note, but you guys know that my voice notes are podcasts
Our
anyways.
podcast.
But you know what I mean? As I'm heading to the office, or I'm going from place to place within the office, I'm talking to you guys. So I think that there's this, yes, there's an element of prioritizing, the things that are going on in your life, but there's also an element of juggling.
Yeah.
And sometimes I can multitask. I really can multitask. She can
Mm-hmm.
pick up Nolan while she's talking to me on the phone. You're driving and you're working, but like, we can talk right now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think that has helped, because it's been in some of those conversations where we're not, let's say, having the flighty up in the sky high level conversations. I'm telling you what I'm going through on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
And we may have to hang up, but we're going to pick up
Yeah.
where we left off,
Yeah.
either that week or the next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate,
So I don't
like,
think
when
people are too busy.
I like I used to accept that as a cop out, but I'm like, you're not busy. Just say I'm not a priority. Like, just say that and let's move on, because
Move
like you
on.
Right.
prioritize what's important to you, and like you go into work and talk to people at work. Like there's a
Right.
lot of opportunity, and it, like, as you said, like, okay, I can't physically talk to you on the phone, but let me send a voice note. And if you're busy, you'll
Mm-hmm.
listen to it. Like my mom always says, I know you use the toilet at least once a day. Like, that's a moment to pick up your phone and send a text, right? Like,
Right. Right.
there's always a moment where
Right.
if you prioritize this group of people or this person, that you can at least check in. Like,
Right.
if I send you a text and you respond a week later and say, "Hey, I was busy,"
You're
you
not
need
even
to be
getting a
put on
response from me, to be
ice.
honest.
If
You're putting,
you might not. I might have to block you.
okay.
You're not that busy.
No, because
Yeah.
nobody is. And for what it's
Donald
worth,
Trump, sorry, Donald Trump the president of the United States of America has time for Twitter fingers, okay? That's somebody who's busy. And he finds time. Like,
right.
cut it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't. I think that people need to, we live in a day and age where so many things are intentionally vying for our attention. Like, I
Mhm.
have
Mm-hmm.
heard the Netflix CEO say that his number one competitor is not another streaming company, it's not Apple, it's sleep. Because
Mm-hmm.
people are paid a lot of money just to harvest your attention. And I think that there is an element of almost like mindfulness and stillness to acknowledge, like, okay, where am I giving my attention to? I
Mm-hmm.
Right.
do have time to sit down and read a whole bunch of books if I'm not on Instagram 4 hours a day.
Yes.
That
And
part.
in that 4 hours a day that I'm on Instagram, could I text my friend? Could I reply to a text? Because what I have noticed is if I text you and 4 days have passed, but every single day I posted on Instagram and you were in my stories watching, if you have time to watch, you have time to text.
Yeah.
So I don't think that people are that busy, but even in the context of motherhood, especially if you're a new mother,
Mm-hmm.
um I think that what will need to take the forefront or lead your friendship when your friend becomes a mother is grace,
Mm-hmm.
because there is no way to prepare for a newborn. And for what it's worth, there's always a new stage with children. Okay. You master the newborn stage, now they're moving into infant. You master the infant, now they're
Mm-hmm.
toddlers who seem to be on a quest to just get themselves out of here. And then they're like, teenage years, even adulthood is something that parents need to prepare for.
Mm-hmm.
And so having grace for your friend when like they very well could be in survival mode is
Yeah.
key, but also knowing I'm not too busy to say, "Hey friend, how are you doing today?" and
Mhm.
Yeah.
reply.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
So
agree. And I think one of the things that really has grind my gears when it comes to this conversation is just like the whole conversation about I don't need to talk to my friends every day as a
Mm,
means of saying that like it's almost like a dig and saying
Hmm.
like if I have to
mm-hmm.
talk to you every day, that's something
You're too
bad. And it's like no
needy.
one is
Right.
telling like we go from one extreme to the next. So we say, oh, I
Yeah.
talk to my friends every other month, or we catch up every 6 months because I don't need to talk to my friends every day. But no
Right.
one's telling you to talk to your friends every day.
Right.
Right.
Nobody's saying like why is it one extreme to the next? Like why can't there be a cadence that is a little bit more regular, but is not
Mm-hmm.
every day? Because no one is said to talk to your friend every day.
Yeah.
That I don't
Like
think is reasonable. I think people
like
are
that's
too
not
busy for that.
like no, but you could talk to your friend once a week or like
Hmm.
Right.
once every 2 weeks, or you can be intentional about like making time to meet
Right.
like
Yeah.
once a month or like once every 3 weeks. Like you could do that. But what I have a hard time with when people say, oh, my friend, and you're not doing life with the person. I don't know how you could do life with someone that you speak to every three
I
months.
don't think you are.
Like I don't how it maybe it's me. Maybe I'm defining
No.
the word friend
No.
wrong. But like if you're my
No.
friend, we're doing life together. So we can't be doing life if I talk to you quarterly.
Right. Because
Yeah.
You're
life
giving me
happens every
highlight
day.
reel.
Life happens
Like
every day, not on
so,
quarterly periods.
like yeah, you're giving me highlight reel. I don't want
Right.
Yeah.
highlight reel.
Right. It's
Yeah.
true. It's
So
true.
like we're
Because you
not
also
doing
can't go in
life.
depth when we're doing those little
Yeah.
touch
And
points.
you
And for what is
forget.
you do forget. Like you may have like a really bad day where you need to talk to somebody as a human being.
Hmm.
3 months later, you may be like well over that day. Where like a
Yeah.
friend would probably want to hear like what's going on as you're going through that thing in the moment. But
Right.
like 3 months later, like yeah, I had a bad day at work. Yeah, it's water on the bridge now. So when you tell your friend, you're telling them almost like that was
Cool
nothing,
notes.
and yeah, like Cole's notes, and they're like,
Yeah.
that sounds concerning, and you don't even care anymore. So like you're not there to be present in the life that's lifing as it's lifing.
Right. Yeah, I don't think you're like we're acquaintances. Like I think it's okay to call someone an acquaintance even if you guys gel really well
Yeah.
together. Like I
Mm,
think we kind of like shy away from the word acquaintance because we think that's people like our coworkers and people that we're not in like close relationship. But I think you can
right,
have a friendship or a relationship with someone who is an acquaintance
right,
and it be like a
Hmm.
really good relationship.
right.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you're not friends? Like to me, you're not. No, you can't tell me I talk to my
No,
best friend twice a year. That's not your best friend. How could that be your best friend?
Twice a year. Oh
That's
man.
mm,
how. How's that your
It's not your
best
best friend.
friend?
It's
Like
not.
what?
no,
No.
no, no. And I do think that people who say that don't really mean it, because what I've observed sometimes is that there will be best friends who will say stuff like that. Like, I talk to my best friend like every 2 months or whatever. But when they get around the best friend's other friends who know about the intricacies of their day to day life,
Hmm.
I have seen many times where it's like, hold on, how come I don't know that?
Yeah.
Or
Mm,
how come I wasn't the one that you took to whatever, whatever? And like justifiably feeling left out, but I think, or left out, or that you're missing out on your friend's life, to be honest.
Hmm.
But what I think is that the response in that situation is for you to sit with yourself and have a little bit of self reflection and honesty and saying, like, I am missing out on my friend's life because if we talk every 2 months, I'm talking to you 6 times a year.
Oh my God.
6 times a year? That's
yeah.
like, we could really, if we wanted to, we could just condense it. And from like Monday to Saturday, we just knock
That's a
all the time
week.
out that we're going to talk in the year. It's a
Yeah.
week.
That's a
Yeah.
week.
You know what I mean? That's not enough to, definitely not enough to build. And I don't think enough to maintain. And I do kind of feel like you're always going to be in a process of building with people because we're all always changing.
Yeah.
Right.
Shanika last year is not the Shanika that I'm looking at today. Nikita last year is not the
Mhm.
Nikita I'm looking at today.
Yeah.
So you got to be present.
Right. No, that's crazy.
That's
When you
a
said that, you
little
talk
bit
your
of time.
That's
six.
nothing. Some people go on vacations less than 6 days. or longer than 6 days.
50.
When I go to Jamaica, I'm not going for 6 days, okay? That's too short. So for you to think
Wow.
that that's enough to maintain a relationship wouldn't work for me. Let me put it that way. It wouldn't work for me.
And it's not working for a lot of people because the stats
No.
told us that 1 in 3 are lonely. So it's
Right.
clearly not really working for us either. But I think we do have like, particularly with women, have this like complex of needing to put all of our efforts into romantic relationships and like not put as much efforts into platonic ones. What do the young people call them? Pick-me's?
Oh my gosh.
Being a pick-me. Yeah, and it's just like, yeah, so when I hear like all the like, oh, I don't talk to would you not talk to your husband for 2 months? That's
Absolutely.
crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Like, what are you talking about? Would you not talk to, I
Right.
mean, I guess some people don't talk to their siblings for that long, so I guess
It's a possibility.
it's possible.
I mean, I feel
But
like that's because you're not close to your siblings, but I'm close to my
Right.
siblings. Like a
right.
month passes and I don't hear, like, are you like
Right.
okay? Like, what's going
Mhm.
on?
Right.
That, yeah, that's what we call an estranged friendship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do think also that sometimes people are afraid of, like, when it comes to the just jumping straight to calling you my friend and not necessarily feeling comfortable with
Mm-hmm.
acquaintance, that maybe the middle ground is like being okay with categorizing a friend. Like, if I was going through a crisis, or if someone was going through a crisis, would this be the person that I call? No. But if I want to go out for dinner, or if I want to go out to a movie, if I want someone to hang
Mhm.
out with, I love hanging out with this person. We don't have that emotional bond and connection. And I also don't believe in like forcing it, but we do get along really great. So
Right.
while we may not be like down here and we may not be up here, we can make space for like the middle and
Right.
be okay with that and be comfortable with that. I think that's
Yeah.
something that I did, like, I have had to put into practice. My mom used to get on me about this all the time because she felt like I would be quick to write people off. And she'd say, like, you don't have to completely discard the person, just maybe reassign the place that they
Mhm.
have in your life. You don't
Mm-hmm.
have to be super open and vulnerable with them if they're showing that, like, I don't really want that. But if they
Right.
love to hang out
Yeah.
with you, then, like, maybe just have them as your hangout friend. But I think, to that statistic about people being lonely, is that I do think that there's an element of, in adulthood, especially post pandemic, where a lot of people were able to build their community based on proximity. Like, we put no effort into meeting each other. We
Mm-hmm.
Right.
just were at the same place all the time.
All the
Yeah.
And
time.
we just
Yeah.
gelled together, right?
Right.
But like with those third spaces, like you were saying, Nikita, not being there anymore, there is an aspect of ownership that we had to take as adults to say, like, I have to put effort into
Mm-hmm.
building my community. It is going to take energy. It is going to take time. It is going to take, sometimes I don't want to go outside,
Right.
but I do need to have that community. So I
Yeah.
got to go outside,
Yeah.
so I don't know. I think we just need to maybe come to terms with the ways in which the world has changed and changes and transitions that come with adulthood, that if we are not cognizant and aware of the effort that we need to put in to meet those changes, that it can cause things like chronic loneliness and the issues
Mhm.
that come with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I agree with you. Any last thoughts, Shanika?
And I feel like it's okay to downgrade friends too. Like, I feel
Oh.
like, no, in in terms of like,
Okay. Tell me
I'm just
more.
thinking, like, maybe this person was your best friend when you were like younger, right? And it's like,
Mm,
but like, it's okay to say like, this person was my best friend, but like now I only talk to them twice a year, and
right.
like, I just don't understand the concept of like you're around people who know more about your life, but you're still giving this person that title that they're your best friend. Like, how are they
Right.
showing up to maintain that spot? And it's okay to say we were best friends, but we're not, but we're super cool. Like there's people in my life where we were really, really close, and now we're not
Hmm.
really, really close. Like they don't know my day-to-day life, my experiences, but when we see each other, two peas in a pod, we kick it, we have a
Right.
good time, we have fun,
Right.
and then we go home, and I don't have to like that. They're not my friends, they're just people who I have a good time with, who once upon a time were
Right.
my friends. So I think it's like it's also okay to like recategorize people. Like I don't think you have to force it once a best friend, always the best friend.
Hmm.
Um, like I think, yeah, we need to, people need to learn what friend means. I think that's where the problem lies. Everybody's not your friend. That's what my nana used to tell me. Everybody is not your friend.
Right.
Yeah,
And we're not
it's
in
true.
kindergarten where you point and say, "You're my best friend. They're my
Right.
friend."
No,
We're not there
there has to be
anymore.
more. Yeah. I do
Yeah.
think that like also what something that I think maybe a lot of people are apprehensive about is the grief that will come with
Mm-hmm.
this person's not my best friend anymore, or this person's
Yeah.
not my friend at all anymore, or you're not the person I can go to if I'm
Mm-hmm.
going through something or I need to talk to somebody. You're just like my hangout friend now. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of grief that comes with that. And I
Hmm.
think because grief is so often discussed in the context of death
Mm-hmm.
and losing somebody through death, that we don't talk about that a death of a friendship is still a death. A
Yeah.
death
Yeah.
of a reality that you had in your life is still a death. And you
Mm-hmm.
have to make space to, while saying, you know what, we aren't close like this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Or you're over here and I'm over here. And that's fine
Yeah.
that you're over here and I'm over here, but like we're just not here anymore.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Making space for the grief that comes with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that's really good because we barely give space for people to grieve death because it
Yes.
Okay.
makes us uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
The
so
funeral's done, they want you to
uncomfortable.
be over it. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
that's how
just the
life
start.
works. It's
Yeah.
just the beginning. It's just the beginning.
So we're so uncomfortable with that. So, like, imagine, and I think particularly for us as Caribbeans, because we're so, we're taught so much about like staying away from bad friend, watching friend, like knowing the company you like. I don't. There's so much conversation about
Oh
not
my
tethering
God.
yourself to somebody else that is not
Yeah.
Right.
a like
Right.
that's not a spouse, and like I don't really see how friendship has been modeled
Yeah.
Mm.
when like amongst Caribbean women. I see like gossip and
Oh
like
my gosh.
proximity
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and like being connected for those reasons, but like real friendship and like so because of that, I don't even know if there is capacity to walk through like a child through like a end of a friendship. It's just like, well,
Right.
that person was jealous or that
Yeah.
person was bad mind, or it's just like,
Yeah.
okay, but even if they were bad mind, I didn't know they were bad mind, and I'm sad about the fact that now I
Right.
come to the realization that this person was bad mind. I need to go
Right.
up, like, walk me
Yeah.
through
Mm-hmm.
how do I feel more confident when it comes to choosing other friends and just
Yeah.
grieving the fact that this person I thought was a really good friend and they did whatever they did to me. There's not, yeah, those parts of it. It's just like, guys, we can have great relations. Everyone's not bad mind.
And,
No.
yeah, we're
Everyone's
just on
not leaving
different
us
pages
astray.
now. Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that does play a part in like this whole like friendship, grieving, platonic relationships. So nonetheless, thank you guys so much for having this conversation, this yap session. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
This
Oh
is fun.
yeah. It
This
was.
is
Listening to as this is like, oh, I think something else that's actually really cute and just very intentional. So when we meet on Wednesdays,
Mhm.
Shanika made these like friendship
Oh yeah.
card conversation cards. Yeah, that's what they are.
Yeah.
And so like we'll talk about whatever the card says. And so like the
Mhm.
conversation is very like guided, but it's just like the intentionality to have like these really led
Mm.
conversation, knowing that we're not seeing each other like all the
Right.
time. And just like,
Yeah.
like naturally when you were younger, you were just at your friend's house and just naturally these conversations would come up. We don't have that
Right.
opportunity because
Mm-hmm.
we're not seeing each other as often, and proximity, like, and
Right.
Yeah.
like also time. Like I'm not, if I'm seeing you for like maybe 4 hours,
Yeah.
Right.
and then I'm not seeing you again for like maybe another 6 months. Unlike when we were
Yeah.
younger, I'm gonna see you for 4 hours Monday, and then I'm coming back to your house on Wednesday, and then I'm
Yeah.
Right.
sleeping over on Saturday, and then
Yeah.
Right.
we're gonna go to church on Sunday.
Yeah.
Right.
So you know what I mean? So I think like that is something like people can do, and just like setting a time. So like we set a time of Wednesday. The
Mm-hmm.
like the time might change, but the day is Wednesday.
Yeah.
Of like, hey, this is the time, this is the day that we're gonna like catch up and like have this conversation. And if we don't actually get on like a FaceTime, like we'll send just like voice notes, but
Yeah.
we know that like, okay, this is our
Right.
time.
Yeah.
And I think like that can help like move the needle if you're wanting to have like deeper relationships with the friends that you do have, or if you're
Mm-hmm.
finding like we don't have time, like there isn't any time for us to
Yeah.
Right.
connect, that's how you can create a space for having time. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
thank you guys for
I'm
being
very
here. Oh, go
happy.
ahead.
I was gonna say
Go
I'm
ahead.
very happy that Shanika created those cards because they guide our conversation, yes, but they also ask specific questions that we may not think to specifically ask each
Yeah,
other. Um, so yeah, it's very cutesy.
Oh, glad you
it
guys
is
like
very
them.
cute. Yeah, so thank you guys so much for being here. And should I? Oh,
Okay.
well, Shanika doesn't have Instagram, so
Sorry,
you can't find
guys.
her anywhere. She's
No.
incognito. But
Find Shanika in
Yeah.
the mountains.
yeah.
Exactly.
Well, thank you for listening and watching to another episode of Melanin Couples. Okay, love you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Melanin Combos.
If you'd like to support, share this episode with a friend and let us know on socials what points resonated with you.
We hope this helps. Love you. Peace.
Peace.